Bombshell story here. CNN has caught Gavin Newsom lying on his podcast about some serious policy positions that has pissed off his base. You're going to see this throughout this video. But to understand what's really going on, take a look at this.
So let's talk about the word Latinx. Just 2 weeks ago, here's what he said about it.
By the way, not one person ever in my office has ever used the word Latinx.
So can we finally put that to bed?
Yeah,
we agree?
where did that even
go? No more Latinx,
like,
everybody.
Well, I just didn't even know where it came from. I'm like, what are people talking about?
But there was a person who used Latinx. It was actually a really important person. It was him, right?
Yeah, that's right. And look, these aren't minor shifts. These are progressive issues that Gavin Newsom used to champion until fairly recently. And now he's not just walking away from them. He's sort of acting like they were never legitimate with that clip talking about Latinx in the first place. But let's take Latinx. We did find somebody who used it repeatedly in his office. Let's take a listen to this.
I hope we can really paint a picture in terms of our consciousness of how impactful this has been on the Latinx community. The Latinx and Black communities. You've got politicians that are banning not assault rifles, but the word Latinx. They're not even serious.
And look, Aaron, those aren't the only times that we found that he used it. He also used it a lot on social media. Look at a few of these right here. You see there, that is a lot of use of Latinx by him for somebody who said that nobody in his office has ever used that phrase.
Now, this is somewhat enjoyable to me because this means that Gavin Newsom's getting exposed, but not by conservatives, by the left-wing media. And if that is taking place, you know it's going bad for him. We know he's trying to remake his image. We know he's trying to separate himself from certain issues, similar to Pete Buttigieg, who removed pronouns from his bio on social media. They're trying to put themselves in position to potentially run in 2028. And by the way, if he does, and I hope he does, I don't think he has a chance at becoming president against J.D. Vance. That's my own personal opinion here. Now, this lying continues. Check this out.
All right. Then there's transgender issues, right? Transgender policies. The governor referenced your own reporting on Kamala Harris's support for those taxpayer-funded sex change operations for detained migrants, right? Remember here when we had that conversation? Okay. It sifted the presidential campaign, right? That moment here. So here he is talking about it.
Trump's for you. She's for they, them.
And
devastating.
Devastating. And,
devastating.
But let's talk
and
about,
she didn't even react to it, which was even more
and let's
devastating.
Talk about,
so he's referring to the ad that they put out using the clip from when you were here. Only a handful of years ago, though, he agreed with Kamala Harris on this very issue.
Yeah, and it has been the law in California to allow transition care for prisoners since 2017. Gavin Newsom didn't speak out or say anything about it until now, 5 years later when it became a political liability. And in fact, he signed a landmark transgender rights bill for prisoners that affirmed their right to have this type of care. And he approved a state Medicaid expansion that also extended gender-affirming care to undocumented immigrants. So his record on this is really not matching the rhetoric that he was putting out in that podcast.
Now, isn't it interesting how calm they are when they were exposing Gavin Newsom? Like, even when the left has to expose someone from the left, they're very gracious about it. If this was President Trump, it would have been a whole song and dance. You know, they would have brought on Never Trumpers and people from the Republican side and the unhinged progressives. I mean, it would have been a full panel. You're not going to see this from CNN in regards. This is as good as it's going to get. But here's the problem for Gavin Newsom. He built his entire career on pushing the most radical, out-of-touch policies in America, policies that have destroyed California's economy, eroded public safety, and drove families and businesses out of the state in record numbers. But now, when it's no longer politically convenient, he's pretending like he was never a part of those issues. Adam Carolla had this to say about the Gavin Newsom being caught in these lies. I like that he has to lie to pretend to be normal. I think that's a good point. And this user on X also made a good point, especially if you live in California. I think you'll relate to this. $70 billion is the deficit of California. $24 billion unaccounted for when it comes to the homeless industrial complex. Now we're adding $10 billion because Newsom and his administration bankrupted an essential program for vulnerable Californians, all to pay for illegal immigrants. We're talking about Medicaid here. The bottom line is that California Democrats have destroyed our state. Gavin Newsom is the leader of that movement. And this takes us to the next story, because that's exactly what AOC is doing. She's pretending like she hasn't been part of the problem here, and she's looking to become the face of the Democratic Party, which in my opinion actually plays into the hands of Republicans. Let's hear that debate that was on CNN about that last night. Take a look.
Because we need to hear new, fresh, bold voices. That's what the American people want. And if the party doesn't do that, the party is about to be finished.
I hope that AOC, Pramila Jayapal, Greg Cesar, I hope they're the new face of the Democratic Party, because Republicans will be winning elections all over the country if that is the face of the Democratic Party. Are you?
I mean, y'all
listen, a district like mine that Joe Biden won by 10 points, okay, 10 points. Kamala Harris won by half a point. Okay, I won by 6.5 points, 24,000 votes in a district that has 85,000 more Democrats than Republicans. Why?
And you're right.
Because the
but you ran against a cornball candidate.
Yeah, so we showed you clips from AOC yesterday because her and Bernie Sanders, they're making their rounds across the nation to capitalize on this moment behind the talking point that America needs to fight back against oligarchs, which they believe are Elon Musk and President Trump and the rest of his cabinet. But there's only one issue. The policies that they stand for are destructive to our country as we know it. Just see California, see Minnesota. Why is it that those are the top two states where they had the most people leaving from since 2000? I think that tells you everything you need to know. Now, here is some real truth that Democrats should actually listen to. Check this out.
I don't think she's going to challenge Schumer, but if she does, I mean, already the Democratic ratings are down to 29%. I've never seen anything like it. That means the left base is with the Democratic Party, and the moderates are all leaving the party. So AOC taking off Schumer, wow, that could finish this party off. This could put it into the wilderness the way the Labor Party was for a decade.
So it doesn't matter whether it's AOC or Gavin Newsom or Tim Walz. These are bad individuals to be the messenger of the Democratic Party because they're not relatable. They are looked at as far left lunatics. I mean, that's just the truth of the matter. Now, here's Chris Cuomo actually supporting the same idea of what I just said. I don't believe the message from AOC at this point and the left is the right message if they plan to be any level of competitive in regards to the upcoming elections. Take a look.
Maybe you should be careful about making jabs at Elon. I definitely see room for criticism in how he's handling things. I think he's hurting the administration. But be careful when your people are burning down his cars and vandalizing things. Maybe you don't want to feed into that.
But they're not going to take Chris Cuomo's advice because you still have individuals who are failed congressmen that used to be a part of the squad going on to CNN and saying this about Elon Musk. Take a look.
This shows, again, the American people do not trust Elon Musk, and Elon Musk is incompetent in his position. And how do we know? Because they fired tens of thousands of people, it was challenged in court. The court said the people have to go back, and now the people are coming back. He's incompetent. He's a thief. He's a Nazi, and people don't trust him. Period.
All right, number one, that is a failed congressman who thought it was a great idea to pull the fire alarm in order to disrupt a vote in the House. That's who he is. Number two, he's part of that radical and far left progressive group called the Squad, which AOC actually leads. And a lot of their stuff aligns with what Gavin Newsom wants to do, even though he's trying to walk back some of those comments. And third, he's defaming Elon Musk, which is why Abby Phillips had to say this at the end.
All right,
we announced
former Congressman
four,
Bowman,
and
I
I've
just
already
have to
done
say,
over 50 town halls
just a
and
second,
mobile
I just have to
office
say,
acts.
your opinion about Elon Musk is your opinion about
yes.
Elon Musk.
So you still got members calling Elon Musk a Nazi on live television. You've got AOC going out there trying to capitalize on the moment, but she's still out of touch, of course, and she's the face of progressive ideals, which are destructive to this country. You got Gavin Newsom trying to walk back some of those progressive ideals in his podcast, but then CNN exposes him for the fraud and the liar that we know that he is. And then you have these town hall meetings turning into shouting matches, and then the far left base getting violent by setting these Tesla dealerships on fire and vandalizing people's cars that are totally innocent in all of this. All hell is breaking loose. That's the bottom line here. Now, here's what Charlie Kirk had to say about Jamal Bowman, which I think is just spot on. Take a look.
doesn't he have a fire alarm to go pull? And I think I heard a smoke detector. You see, Jamal Bowman is the worst of all of the Democrats. He is not very bright, incredibly hostile and aggressive, and that's who they want to build their party around. That incompetent Nazi, as you'd put it, Jamal Bowman, just rescued astronauts. What have you ever built in your life? And that is the Democrat Party.
So the question is, what is really going on with this party? I believe they're just in full destruction mode. But this is the opinion from Chuck Todd on what he believes is happening.
What's going on here? This is not obviously just activists. It's obviously just liberal big money funders doing this.
No, this is real. I think we've seen this growing, and, first we saw it on the right, and then you've seen it play itself out. Now you're seeing it on the left, where I do think that the establishment wing of the party's got to worry about a liberal Tea Party that's coming. There seems to be this anger of do something, and like I said, it was a similar thing that ended up fueling Trump and Trumpism over a 10-year period. So, one of the warnings...
The do something argument.
Right. Whatever the do something is, even if it means banging your head against a wall, which a lot of times, it's so funny that you heard that one guy say, Mitch McConnell was so effective at doing all these things. He didn't stop Obamacare. He didn't stop, there wasn't many things he could really do when he didn't have the votes.
Yeah.
So, and this is a case where Democrats don't have the votes.
Well, I can tell you what the something means, because we saw that yesterday, which I'll link to that video at the end of this one, is violence. I mean, that's what they've been doing to Elon Musk. And not all Democrats have come out publicly to condemn this terrible situation. I mean, I don't understand why they're so silent on domestic terrorism. Now, some people may say, hey, that's a little hyperbolic. You're being extreme. But is it? If you're setting off not just one, but 8 Teslas at a dealership, and you're shooting bullets at a Cybertruck, and you're breaking glass, and you're vandalizing people's vehicles, and they're coordinated, and they're being funded. I mean, these people are definitely organized. Now, let me show you this clip from President Trump just moments ago, what his message is to these individuals who are committing these heinous acts.
Well, I view these people as terrorists just like others. When I looked at those showrooms burning and those cars, not one or two, like 7, 8, 10 burning, exploding all over the place. These are terrorists. You didn't have that on January 6th, I can tell you. You didn't have anything like that on January 6th, which is sort of amazing, because on January 6th, the Democrats were talking. Nobody was killed other than a very beautiful young woman, Ashley Babbitt. Nobody was killed. And you look at what's going on now with these terrorists. These are terrorists, and that's an organized event. Take a look at their signs. Take a look. They're all made by the same sign company. A nice, expensive job. Now, these are the people that finance it are, in my opinion, in just as big a trouble as the people that are setting the match and setting the fires. So we'll see. It's under very serious investigation by the FBI and by the Justice Department. These people are terrorists.
Now, how does this relate to Gavin Newsom and AOC and Jamal Bowman, who called Elon Musk a Nazi? Because they're all from the radical far left of that base, and they are getting louder, folks. This is why it is relevant. They are dominating the news cycle with their hyperbolic language, these violent protests. You got AOC going across the nation, and the left-wing media will cover it. And so we got to push back. We got to let people know, hey, here's the actual other side of the story that the media doesn't want to tell you. Now, I give CNN a little credit here for fact-checking Gavin Newsom, but we know why that's happening. It's because he pissed off some people by going against those particular issues. And that brings me to the question of this video that I want to get your answer to in the comment section below. Do you agree that what Gavin Newsom is doing is trying to walk back his comments so he can run for president in 2028? Now, if you do believe that is true, what chance do you give him in actually becoming the leader and the actual candidate for the Democratic Party? Let me know what your thoughts are about all that in the comment section below. Now, throughout this video, we reference furious voters who are attending these town hall meetings, disrupting them because they're getting into shouting matches with their elected officials. And to make matters worse, the House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries decided to upload another cringe social media video which did not go very well for him. If you missed out on that story and more from yesterday, all you have to do is click on that video because it's coming up right now.